It often happens quietly, almost invisibly. A man falls in love, not all at once, not like the stories tell you, but in small, unguarded moments he doesn't even register. The way he leans in a little closer when you speak, the way he glances at you when he thinks you're not watching, the way your silence lingers in his mind long after you've walked away. He doesn't call it love, not yet. He tells himself he's just comfortable around you. He convinces himself it's familiarity, habit, or some passing fondness. But what he doesn't understand, not consciously, not fully, is that a deeper part of him is already yours, because love at 50 isn't like love at 20. It isn't about fireworks or chaos. It's about resonance, the quiet, steady pull between two souls who have lived enough life to recognize something real when it's right in front of them. And that's the part that scares him most. At this age, he's built walls. Strong ones. Not because he's cruel, but because he's been bruised. He's been the strong one, the fixer, the one who held everything together. He's spent years burying vulnerability under logic, responsibility, pride. He's learned to love without showing it, to want without admitting it, to ache without letting it leak through his carefully built mask. But the unconscious never lies. And this is where Jung's world begins. Beneath the surface of his calm exterior, the shadow speaks. It knows the truth his ego refuses to name. It remembers the way his heartbeat subtly changes when your name appears on his phone. It remembers the stillness in his chest when your voice goes soft. It remembers how your absence doesn't feel neutral anymore. It feels like a room with the air pulled out of it. He doesn't tell you any of this, because in his mind, that would mean surrendering control. But in reality, he already has, and here's the beautiful, brutal truth. Men often realize they're in love long after their soul has already decided. They mistake emotional attachment for comfort, longing for distraction, jealousy for mere curiosity. But love, real love, it lives underneath all of that. It's the reason he remembers what you wore on a random Tuesday. It's the reason your laughter can make him forget his defenses. It's the reason your absence starts to haunt him like an unfinished sentence. And the older he gets, the harder it becomes to ignore that pull. Because after 50, love isn't about proving something to the world anymore. It's about finding the person who makes the world quiet for a while. It's about someone who feels like home without needing to be tamed. It's about a bond that isn't desperate, but undeniable. And that's where you live in his story, in the space between what he says and what he feels. But here's the part most women never see. Men fall in love in silence. Not with declarations, but with moments. When he listens to you without realizing he's memorizing your voice, when he starts noticing other people less because your energy fills the room, when he tries to be logical, but his body betrays him, leaning in, softening, seeking. He won't call it love. Not yet. He'll say he enjoys your company. He'll say you're different. He'll act like it's casual. But every time you pull back, something inside him flinches because part of him is already chasing you. He doesn't even know it yet. This is where it gets interesting. At 50, a man's relationship with love changes. He's not just searching for passion. He's searching for meaning, for emotional sanctuary, for a reflection of his soul that doesn't require him to wear a mask. And when he meets a woman who embodies that, strong, calm, radiant, unapologetically herself, something primal wakes up inside him. Not the frantic rush of young love, but the gravity of something he can't just walk away from. It's not what you say that makes him fall. It's what you are, the way you carry your strength like silk. Not steel, the way you let silence speak louder than need, the way you're not chasing love, and that very lack of chase makes it feel rare. Because the older he gets, the more he understands, true connection doesn't come wrapped in noise. It comes wrapped in presence, and your presence unsettles his carefully ordered world. He may try to run from it. He may distract himself with someone else. He may build excuses around his heart like a fortress. But deep down, he already knows no matter where he goes, he'll feel the pull, because what you've awakened in him isn't infatuation, it's recognition, and recognition is impossible to forget. Love has a strange way of revealing itself, not in the grand moments, but in the small shifts a man can't explain. He may believe he's still in control, that what he feels is simple and contained. But love has already been working on him in places he doesn't even look. You see, a man over 50 doesn't fall in love like a young man. He's not dazzled by appearance alone. He's been through enough to know beauty fades, charm can be hollow, and words can be cheap. What captures him at this stage of life is energy, presence, the way your existence quietly rearranges the atmosphere around him. And what makes this so powerful is that he doesn't fully understand it. In Jungian terms, this is where the shadow and anima projection begin to stir. When a man connects deeply with a woman, she doesn't just exist in his life. She activates the hidden parts of him that have been sleeping for decades. She awakens emotions he's buried, desires he's tucked away, tenderness he's been told to suppress. To him, you're not just a woman. You become a mirror that reflects not only who he is, but who he could have been if he had allowed himself to feel more. Watch the signs carefully. He starts remembering small details about you. The way you held your cup, the scent of your perfume, a joke you made that no one else noticed. Those details begin looping in his mind like a soft, addictive hum. He finds himself comparing other people to you without meaning to. Not because he's trying to, but because you've become a silent reference point. Everything else feels just slightly less, and the more he tries to ignore it, the more it grows. Because what's happening isn't logical, it's psychological. You've slipped beneath the surface of his rational mind and landed in the unconscious, where the deepest attachments are formed. Here's the thing. At this stage in life, many men are experts at managing their emotions. They've spent decades learning how to compartmentalize, how to keep feelings behind thick walls. But love, real love, isn't something they can strategize their way out of. This is why he may act confused, hot and cold, warm one moment, distant the next. It's not that he doesn't feel anything. It's that he feels too much and doesn't know what to do with it. Jung often spoke of the unconscious pulling us toward what the conscious mind resists. That's what's happening to him. On the surface, he might tell himself it's casual, that he's fine, that it's nothing serious. But deeper down, his body is already loyal to your presence. His soul already knows something his mind hasn't admitted yet. That's why he looks for you in the room without realizing, why your silence unsettles him, why his heartbeat stumbles when you walk away. After 50, love is less about the thrill of conquest and more about the ache of meaning. Many men at this stage feel a quiet, unspoken emptiness. They've checked the boxes: career, responsibility, appearances. But something in them craves depth, not another performance, but a home for their soul. And when a woman carries herself with the quiet, grounded power of someone who knows who she is, she becomes that home, not because she tries, but because her presence whispers something their spirit recognizes. You can stop pretending here. That's when it happens. He doesn't plan to love you. He doesn't even admit it to himself. But everything about him starts rearranging itself around you. He starts listening more. He notices the softness in your laugh. He starts picking up your language, mirroring your rhythm, syncing with your emotional frequency. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a slow alignment, and then comes the moment that every woman feels but rarely names, the shift in his gaze. It's subtle. He looks at you differently. Not with the fleeting curiosity of a stranger, but with the quiet recognition of someone who has found something he didn't know he was searching for. That's the moment his unconscious steps into the light. In Jungian psychology, this is where projection becomes realization. The feelings he buried, the tenderness, the longing, the vulnerability, are no longer just shadows. They've attached themselves to your presence, and even if he tries to walk away, he won't. Not fully, because once a woman lives in a man's unconscious, no one else feels the same. He may try to distract himself. He may throw himself into work. He may even be with someone else, convincing himself it's enough. But deep down, his heart already knows the truth. The way you make him feel isn't just unique. It's undeniable. You've become a part of his emotional blueprint. That's why months later, years later, your name still stirs something inside him he can't quite name. Because here's what love after 50 really looks like. It's not about the drama. It's about gravity. That quiet, invisible pull that doesn't fade with time. In fact, it grows stronger in silence. And the more he resists it, the more it owns him. This is the paradox that Jung understood so well. The more we repress what we feel, the more it shapes us, the more he hides it, the more it controls him, and one day it clicks, not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet moment, when he realizes nothing else feels right anymore, not because you forced it, but because the unconscious has finally spoken louder than his pride. He's more in love with you than he's ever admitted, even to himself. There comes a moment, it is often quiet, often far away from the noise of the world, when a man finally faces the truth he's spent years avoiding. It doesn't happen when you're standing in front of him. It doesn't happen in some grand, cinematic moment. It happens in the stillness, when he's alone with his own thoughts. That's when your presence, or rather, the absence of it, starts speaking louder than everything else. He begins to notice how much of his world had quietly begun revolving around you. The way conversations felt lighter when you were in the room. The way silence wasn't heavy when you were beside him. The way the world seemed a little more bearable simply because you existed in it. And when that presence is gone, or pulled back, something inside him caves in. Not dramatically. Not like a storm, but like a quiet, undeniable collapse. That's when the truth sinks in. He's more in love with you than he ever realized. You see, love isn't always loud. It's not always about the moment he says, "I love you." Real love often lives in the invisible corners of his life. It's in the way he saves stories to tell you, the way he notices things he wants to share, the way he counts on your energy without even realizing it. When you're no longer there, when that energy is gone, it creates a void. And that void is where clarity lives. He begins to replay the moments you shared, the way you looked at him like you could see straight through the walls he'd spent decades building, the way your laughter cracked through his defenses like light through stained glass, the way you never needed to beg for love, you embodied it. He realizes that he was never just comfortable around you, he was home. This is the part that breaks him, not in a cruel way, but in a way that strips away every illusion he's used to protect himself. At 50, a man knows what he's lost when it's gone. He no longer has the illusion of endless time. He understands that real connections don't come often, that the kind of woman who sees him, truly sees him, doesn't appear twice, and so the absence becomes unbearable. He thought he was fine. He thought he could move on. He thought what you shared was nice, but not essential. And then one day he wakes up and realizes that no matter what he does, no matter who stands next to him, nothing feels the same, because love like this doesn't just fade. It echoes through conversations with other people that fall flat. It echoes in moments of quiet when his mind drifts back to you. It echoes in the way his chest tightens when he sees your name or your face, even in memory. This is the moment Jung called the confrontation with the shadow, when a man finally stops running from what he feels and faces it. When the unconscious becomes conscious, when the heart speaks louder than the ego, and for many men, this is the most terrifying and transformative moment of their lives. Because now, it's not about chasing something new, it's about longing for what was real. You see, you weren't just another woman in his life. You became a mirror, a reflection of the parts of himself he didn't even know existed. His tenderness, his capacity for trust, his hunger for something beyond surface-level comfort. When he remembers you, he's not just remembering a person, he's remembering who he was when he was with you, and that version of himself, softer, truer, more alive, and is what he's really chasing. That's why he looks for you even when he's with someone else. That's why no distraction ever fully works. That's why the quiet between midnight and morning is louder than any denial. Here's the truth. When a woman over 50 stands in her power, she becomes unforgettable. Not because she tries to be, not because she plays games, but because she carries a presence that is real. A presence that many men spend their lives searching for, but rarely find. She's not begging to be loved. She's not performing to be chosen. She is love. She is the anchor in the storm. She is the silence that steadies everything else. And once a man has felt that, nothing else compares. This is why men come back. Not because they suddenly learned how to love, but because they finally learned what love feels like. It's not the intensity of the chase they miss. It's the calm of your presence. It's the emotional safety that their soul recognized before their mind did. And when that realization hits, it's too late to unsee it. But here's the most beautiful part of all. You don't need him to realize it for your worth to exist. His awakening isn't your validation, it's his education, because the truth is, your value was never in being loved. It was in being unforgettable. You are the lesson, the storm and the calm. The woman who stood without shrinking, who loved without losing herself. He may never say the words out loud. Pride may keep him silent. Time may keep you apart. But his soul will always know, because long after the noise fades, after the distractions dissolve, after the years stretch thin, one thing will remain etched into his memory like a quiet scar. This is the paradox of love after 50. It's not about winning someone's heart. It's about becoming the kind of woman whose essence lingers long after you leave the room. Men don't just fall in love with women like that. They stay in love. Often silently, often forever. Because love at this age isn't about what's loud, it's about what stays. And so, he'll keep living his life. He may never fully say what he feels, but every time something reminds him of you, a scent, a song, a silence, the truth returns like a tide. He's more in love with you than he ever realized, and now, he knows it, but you? You've already risen beyond needing to hear it, because you've become what most men spend their entire lives searching for, a woman whose presence becomes their turning point.